But you're in the way, bro.
How many are shots?
Oh my gosh.
You look cute.
Thank you. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys have been having a great day. Thank you for coming back. Today I wanted to talk about something that we all go through, all right? It's called pain, all right? Pain is not something that we can escape. Pain is something that is inevitable, okay? It comes and it goes. But sometimes people will take that pain and they will live in it. They will dwell in it. They will allow the pain to define them. And that is not the purpose of pain. Think about it. When you have pain in your body, it's alerting your body that something needs to happen. It's alerting your body that you need to pay attention. Pay attention when you have a headache. It's telling your body, pay attention to what's causing you to have a headache. Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you just, maybe you have stress. What people will take medication, Tylenol, Advil, whatever your favorite is, to get rid of the headache in the moment. If you are having a stomach ache, your body is telling you to pay attention to what you've eaten, or, maybe it's something, everything that happens in our body is because of something else, right? And so when we have pain, we don't just let it linger, right? We do something about it. And we want to get rid of it, right? We don't want to stay in it. And so I don't know why people would want to hold on to pain and not really use that pain for a greater purpose. And so that's really what this video is about, how to turn your pain into purpose. How to turn your pain into purpose. Now, pain is, like I said, we're going to go through it. It's not something that you can escape. It's not something that you can opt out of, right? It's going to happen. And when it happens, it's very important that you pay attention to the signs. What is the cause of this pain? Think to yourself, why am I going through this? Like, what is the cause of this? And not only to think about what the cause of the pain is, but also thinking about, like, how can I get rid of this pain? How can I make sure that this pain is not something that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life? And in doing that, you begin to understand the purpose behind the pain. What is the purpose of this pain? Because I believe that every pain has purpose. Every pain has a purpose. So I'm just going to share 2 ways of how I took pain and I turned it into purpose. When my dad died, it's one of the biggest pains I've ever experienced in my life. And you may have heard me talk about it a lot because it really affected me in a huge way. And the pain that I felt from there was kind of unbearable and unspeakable. And I could have dwelt on that pain and just let it become part of my life, because it's something that I will always miss him, right? But I refused to let the pain live here, because all I felt was sad. It was just sad. Like, I don't want to be sad for the rest of my life, right? So I was like, okay, so what can I learn from this pain? What was the purpose of this pain? And one thing that my dad really instilled in me was the power of prayer and how effective it is. And so my prayer life got stronger because of that pain. So that's one way I took that pain and I turned it into purpose. And my prayer life has really grown from that pain. Sounds kind of little, but no, it's how I took that pain and I made it purposeful. I made it purposeful for myself. I was reminded of how he taught us to pray, and how he made prayer number one. We would be sleeping, hearing him praying and calling out our names, and even in him calling out our names, I've begun to do that for my children, and speaking loudly over them, and praying out loud so they can hear the thoughts I have for them, the not the plans I have for them, because God has their plans, but the prayers I have for them, right? The hopes I have for them. And so that's one way I took that pain and I turned it into purpose. Another way is when I had my daughter, Bailey. You may know a previous video that I shared in my Journey to Motherhood video, Overcoming Postpartum Depression. I used the pain that I was suffering through that postpartum depression, and I turned it into purpose by writing a book called Mommy, How Can I Help You? Now, it was a really intense type of pain because it was a really kind of guilt and shaming type of pain for me, because my first child and my second child, good, we were great, right? Why this third child comes around and I'm now thinking about not wanting to be around her, right? And so it was a pretty shameful time for me, but I took that pain and I turned it into purpose. I put my life story out there in hopes that someone would be able to learn from it or to be encouraged by it. So I took that painful time, that painful season, and I turned it into purpose. Because there's a purpose for every pain. And I like to say, purpose over pain. The more you dwell on the pain, the less you will focus on the purpose. But the more you focus on the purpose, the less you will dwell in the pain. And so I want that to be your life story. I want that to be an encouragement for you, that when you are going through something, that you remind yourself that God sees that you are worthy enough, or that you are strong enough to even endure this. Like, whoo, mind blown, right? Like, you think that I'm strong enough to go through this, and at that moment I'm like, what are you doing, God? No, but he knows. He knows what you can handle. He knows what you can bear. I'm encouraging you to seek out purpose in your pain, to seek the purpose behind your pain, and make it up in your mind that you will never let another trial go to waste. Until next time, there is only one you, so be the best you that you can be. Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I post a new video.